Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our October 9th regular school board meeting. At this time, please rise if you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right. First off, I would like to welcome Director of Secondary Education, Michael Bolsoni, here tonight. She is sitting in for Superintendent Krieger, who is representing our district at the Minnesota Association of School Administrators Conference. First off, I would like a motion to approve the agenda. There is no additions or deletions from the agenda tonight. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Sachin and a second by Jackie. All those in favor of approving the agenda as outlined, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries on a 5-0 vote. All right. First up is our recognition, our favorite section of the meeting, and what I think a lot of people are probably here tonight joining us for. I would like to welcome Apple Valley High School Principal Drew Mons to the podium, who will start us out by giving an overview of the National Merit Scholarship Program and introducing us to the Apple Valley High students. Each of the other high school principals will follow to introduce their students. Principal Mons.
Good evening, Chairperson Johnson, board members, Director Bolsoni. I'm Drew Mons, principal at Apple Valley High School. Tonight we have many families in attendance with us for an exciting school board meeting where we're going to recognize a number of our students from District 196 as National Merit Scholars. Each high school principal will call up their students here tonight for recognition alongside with their families. Before we begin, I'd like to emphasize the distinction and the honor of these students being recognized as National Merit Scholars. Every year, 11th graders can take the optional PSAT test, which measures critical reading, math, and writing. Over 1.5 million students from 20,000 schools across the nation take this test. We have students here from District 196 being recognized as National Merit Scholars, with some of those students even ranking in the top 1 percentile as semifinalists. These students have the chance to compete for 7,000 scholarships, totaling nearly $28 million from various businesses, colleges, universities, and of course, the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. Now, I'd like to provide an additional thank you for the opportunity to kick off tonight's recognition by introducing Apple Valley High School National Merit Scholar, AJ Singh. AJ, congratulations. I'd also like to ask AJ's family to please stand and be recognized as well. AJ's here, very good. Congratulations. And with that, it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Polly Rakowski from Egan High School to the podium. Dr. Rakowski. Congratulations, AJ.
Well done, congratulations. Very impressive.
Great job, awesome.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us here. Greetings on this beautiful October evening. We are here from Egan High School, and I'm very proud to be here to introduce these young scholars who have won this high level of distinction. Before I begin, though, I'd like to be sure to recognize the fact that Egan High School did a fair amount with these young people, but along the way, pre-K all the way up, we have schools involved, teachers involved, many specialists involved, in addition to all of the work their parents and families have done to support them, to get them to this point. So we'll take some credit, but not all the credit. Our Egan High School students being represented here tonight, and I'll ask them to step forward when I say their names. Our National Merit Scholars include Samson Axelrod, Jacob Brzezinski, Hui Vo, Ishan Karatkar, and Carter Veen. I'd like their families to stand so that we could recognize them for all the wonderful work that they've put into these young people as well. you. Thank you very much. And next up, we will have Dr. Bruce Miller from Eastview High School.
Thanks, Polly. Absolutely. Great job. Congratulations. Awesome job. Great job. Congratulations. Awesome job. Thanks for being here. Great job.
Good evening, Chairperson Johnson and school board members and secondary Director of Secondary Ed Michael Bolsoni. I'm Bruce Miller, principal of Eastview High School. On behalf of our faculty, staff, students, and parents, I want to stand here and thank you for all that you do to support all of our students. As Dr. Rakowski says, it's a big project to get our students to this point and have this type of recognition, and we want to thank everyone for all that they've done for that. I want to also thank or extend our heartiest congratulations to all of the National Merit Scholars from all across our district. It's just a proud moment for all of us to have this number of students that we can recognize tonight together. So it's my pleasure to introduce our Eastview Scholars. I want to also congratulate them on their passionate, hard work that they've done in sustaining their academic effort going forward. As you can guess, there are several of our students who are, all of them really, are involved in several co-curricular types of activities, and we have a few tonight that aren't able to be here just because of that. So, first up, Racine Hussein. Aver Kahar is not able to be here. Sam Kenny is also at his youth orchestra rehearsal tonight. Elizabeth Lambert. Sahasra Malady is in Tbilisi, Georgia, the capital of the country of Georgia tonight. She's in a merit-based year-long study abroad called Future Leaders Exchange Program, sponsored by our U.S. Department of State. Isaac Nikolai, Kwa Wen, Eamon Patel, Wyatt Pike, he's not able to be here tonight. Ethan Pua, Elsie Warren, Mizuki Wu, and Matthew Yin. And Julie Zhang is at her competition cheerleading practice tonight because they're preparing for some upcoming competitions. So I also want to take this moment to also recognize and thank all of the parents and families for all of the support and unconditional support that you give to our students throughout all of their careers and going forward. We really appreciate that. So if you're here, would you please also rise to be recognized? And I would like to introduce Mr. Pete Roback from Rosemount High School.
Congratulations. Awesome job. Thanks for being here. Good job. Congratulations. Awesome job. Awesome job. Congratulations. Great job. Great job. Congratulations. You're welcome. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Congratulations. You bet.
Good evening, Chairperson Johnson, Director of Secondary Ed Bolsoni, and members of the board. Thank you for honoring these top District 196 scholars this evening. I'm Pete Roback, principal of Rosemount High School. And it is my deep honor to recognize these top scholars from Rosemount High School this evening. And just like Mr. Miller said, we have quite a diverse group that are involved and really embody the AAA philosophy in District 196 and are pulled in many different directions this evening. When I read each student's name, with the families that are in attendance this evening, please stand when your student is recognized and stay standing until I'm completed or done reading the names. We'll start with our two National Merit semifinalists. To my left, Braden Herzberg and Vanessa Huang. We have 5 National Merit commended students: Lauren Begich, Catherine Busing. Absent tonight is Achuth Kastori. We have Matthew Pacius and Noah Rodenwald. At Rosemount High School, we were fortunate to also have 5 National African American Recognition Award-winning students, and they are Adonias Katema. Absent tonight is Prashet Andara. Also absent is Deborah Tedessa. Here tonight is Michael Thomas. And also absent due to a soccer conflict is Nicholas Zweber. And finally, we have one National Hispanic Recognition Award-winning student, and that is Finn Nowlin. Please join me in recognizing these students and our families from Rosemount High School. Thank you.
Awesome job.
Congratulations.
Great job. Congratulations.
Well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Awesome job. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Awesome job. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Excellent. Always great to start a school board meeting recognizing so many in the field of academic achievement. At this point, I will turn it over to Director Bolsoni for superintendent's recognition.
Thank you, Chairperson Johnson. I want to start by recognizing that today is Indigenous Peoples Day, a holiday celebrated on the second Monday of October each year to honor Native American peoples, their sovereignty, culture, and gifts to North America. The day was recognized by students and staff in our district and in schools across Minnesota. In District 196, our elementary students participated in a school-wide read-aloud and discussion of the book Indigenous Peoples Day. Our middle and high school students studied Native culture and communities in their social studies and English language arts classes. We have a thriving Native American community in District 196 with more than 500 Indigenous students across the district representing 55 different sovereign nations. A majority of our students are Ojibwe and Lakota. Our American Indian Education Program is hosting an Indigenous Peoples Day celebration at the School of Environmental Studies tonight, in fact right now at this very moment, from 5:30 to 8 p.m. You can learn more about our American Indian Education Program in District 196 by attending one of their many events or in the academic section of the district website at district196.org. Next, I would like to thank and recognize our school psychologists in advance of National School Psychology Awareness Week, which will be celebrated November 6th through November 10th before our next regular school board meeting. I'm happy to say that every District 196 school benefits from the services of a school psychologist. School psychologists help our students develop the academic and social emotional skills they need to promote personal achievement, growth, resilience, and a sense of belonging and well-being. The support our school psychologists are providing for students and families now is as important as ever, and we are thankful for their talents and skills. Later in our meeting, we will hear a report on our Nutrition Services Department from our coordinator, Spencer Fisher, and the school board will be asked to approve a resolution designating this week from October 9th to the 13th as Nutrition Services Employee Appreciation Week in District 196. There are approximately 175 full and part-time employees in nutrition services. Each year, they serve approximately 2.5 million healthy and nutritious meals at 31 locations across our district. I want to thank each of them for their important work they do each day to keep our students well-fed and ready to learn. At this time, in the audience, I would like to invite Spencer Fisher and any other nutrition services employees with us this evening to stand and be recognized. Thank you. Later this evening, the board will also be asked to approve a resolution designating October 16th to the 20th as Transportation Employees Appreciation Week in District 196. We currently have 311 transportation employees who operate the largest district-owned fleet in the state, consisting of 227 vehicles. In a typical year, our drivers and chaperones travel approximately 2.9 million miles, transporting more than 23,000 students, twice each day to school and back from more than 5,500 bus stops throughout the district. At this time, I would like to invite our transportation coordinator, Karen Dayon, and other transportation employees with us this evening to stand and be recognized. And that concludes the recognitions. Thank you.
Excellent. I had to do a little math while you were talking. I found out that that is like driving from the Earth to the moon 10 times back and forth. Crazy. We have no one signed up for special communications requests tonight, so that brings us to our consent agenda. We have 17 items on the consent agenda tonight. They are the minutes from the September 25th, 2023 regular school board meeting, gifts, advertising revenue, Treasurer's report from August 2023, schedule of investments for August 2023, summary of claims for August 2023, revenues and expenditures report for August 2023, equity advisory council appointments. Personnel, pay rates for substitute, temporary, and part-time employees, employment agreements, 2023-24 CAP agency Head Start interagency agreement for special education, stipend for health services coordinator, assurance of compliance. Joint powers agreement between District 196 and Dakota County and other cities, townships, and school districts within Dakota County for the provisions of absentee voting administration services. Notice updating the list of appointed judges for school board election and notice of testing of optical scan voting systems. Are there any items that board members would like to pull from the consent agenda today? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bianca, second by Sakowden. All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries on a 6-0 vote. Now, welcome Bianca. Next on our agenda is our reports, and I would like to welcome Christopher Anyango Robshot to the podium to discuss our official October 2nd, 2023 enrollment.
Good evening, Chair Johnson, Director Bolzoni, members of the board, and the public. Here to present our official October 2, 2023 enrollment report. Typically, we talk about this as October 1, but as you all know, there were several things happening on October 1 or not happening on October 1. One of which was not counting students. Some of us were supposed to be running, but, well, it got too hot to do that. So we got to count the students on Monday, the 2nd, and as I talk through this, I just want to make sure that we understand this is head count. All other data, when we talk about enrollment, I'm talking about ADM, so average daily membership. But what we're talking about here is the number of students who are actually in the seats in our classroom across the district. October 1 is crucial for us because it determines several state funding measurements that use this number. We also use this data locally as part of our final budget. So as buildings review the plan that they had put into play in May, we now know which students we are serving. We know which teachers in the buildings. We are able to reconfigure what it is that we would be providing as far as allocations, both to the buildings and to across the district. So that's why this date is critical for us. So overall, we are reporting enrollment, and again, this is head count of 28,961 students across all grade levels, so from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. I do have two other portions of this report that's added. So we have early childhood special education. So they make up about 2% of our overall student population. And we also have center-based special ed. When we talk about enrollment, again, I said ADM. So for all students from grade 1 through grade 6, one ADM or an average daily membership for one student is just equal to the number of, if they're here from the beginning of the school year all the way through June 30th, that counts for a one ADM. Once you get into 7th grade and from 7th to 12th grade, the counting for those students changes. So now we're talking about average pupil units. And for those grade levels, there's a 20% bonus, so to speak, that gets added on to the ADM. So from 7th grade through high school, it does cost a little bit more to educate those students, so they're counted as a 1.2. But just pure head count, 28,961 is what we had for students. In summary, overall, comparing our October 2nd to October 3rd, which would be the similar dated report last year. So overall, district-wide, we are showing a decline across all grade levels, including the two center programs of 86 students. So this is 0.03% of a decline across all grade levels. If we just do K-12, so kindergarten through 12th grade, we are showing that we had a decline of 283 students, or 0.87% overall, compared between October last year and October this year. One of the things that we noticed toward just as school was starting was there was a charter school that was opened in Burnsville, within the city of Burnsville, and that attracted a number of students from most western lying schools in those K-5 grades. So we're anticipating that that's where most of that drive is from, but overall, slight decline. As far as when I look at these numbers, and I know we just passed a referendum, we talk about building needs, space needs, the trajectory, if you see the growth in our early learning years, so preschool, early childhood special ed, those numbers are actually increasing from prior year. And so then the need for space, while we're talking overall district-wide, we're in a, it's seeming like slight decline. When you do a comparison, the need for space is still there. So this picture does not change that trajectory in terms of what we need classroom space for. We do have, we're closed for open enrollment at certain grade levels in the high school. When you look at the elementary or the preschool, we do have a waiting list for some of those pre-K classes. So the need is there. It's just not showing up where we typically see it in terms of our K-5 numbers. This picture shows historical, so this is the last 10 years. And so the message that we've been communicating since 2013 is that we've been seeing a gradual increase in enrollment from year to year. When the pandemic came along, there was a shifting of priorities that families made. And so we seem to have plateaued from 2020, and we're just edging a little bit down, but it's not at a great enough clip for us to be sounding the alarm. But we are taking note of the trajectory and making adjustments as we go. Racial demographic shows that we continue to be more diverse. So currently about 45% of our students are minority students. And you can see on the chart the display how that makeup is. So Hispanic at 12%, African American students 14%, Asian 8%. Multi would be students who identify as more than one ethnicity group, which is at 8.7%. And then our Caucasian group would be at 56.35%. Historical trends, so if we look at racial breakdown, elementary at 48%, middle school 42%, high school at 44%, coming up with a total of 45%. What this data is telling us is as elementary students keep progressing across a grade level, then there will be a point of inflection where we may be a minority-majority district, and that's where the trajectory is showing. Compared to the state average across the state of Minnesota, and this is looking at last year's data that has been submitted to the Department of Education, 37% of the students educated in public schools would be considered minorities. If I look at our 10-year history, so 2013-2014 school year compared to our 23-24 school year, you see that there's an 18% increase within the minority student population. So 30% in FY14 versus 48% in the current fiscal year. Early learners, elementary, again at 11%. High school, middle school, you can see that that trend is declining. So when we identify students as needing early learning, the way the statute is written is once they enter the system, they have 7 years to stay within the program. So we would anticipate that, yes, we have a larger population at the elementary grade, and as they matriculate through the system, then that number would fall off. But if somebody came in, say, 5th grade, and they needed those services, then they would be guaranteed those services basically throughout their career in the school district. So total statewide, total district-wide, 7.8%. At the state level, we are slightly below that because the state is at 9.2%. And again, this is 22-23 data compared to FY14. Now looking back 10 years, we see that we've increased about 3% overall as a district. So 4.4 in FY14 versus 7.8 in the current fiscal year. This chart is looking at our comparison to budget, not projection last fall. So when we are working through projections, we start off with what we know. So the base data we have right now for October 2022-23 is what we based our budget projections on for for FY24. Our October 1 data now is what we'll be basing our projections on for next year. So when we look at 23-24, we were projecting we would be at 29,170 students, and we came in at about 140 students short of that projection. And again, I mentioned that there was a school that opened in the city of Burnsville, but not within the boundary. That attracted some of the students, so that's why some of the numbers that we're seeing here are a little bit off. Within the student information systems area, we're going to be working on doing a deeper dive on these data. Again, the trends prior to the referendum was we would be growing. That was before the pandemic. We were having those conversations. Post-pandemic, things have settled down. We're not seeing the pickup of students that we anticipated. So again, we're going to be going back and reviewing the data that is available, either with a demographer and just doing a better internal census to get a better sense of our figures. So to recap, overall, we are seeing stable enrollment. Yes, there's a slight decline when compared to prior year, same status, and then overall internal projections. We use these numbers. Again, the state is using them to make certain calculations, funding related, that will be impacting our district. And then we're also using it internally to provide funding to buildings in terms of the final budget process that will be beginning here shortly. I'm happy to entertain any questions or provide clarification on the data that I've provided so far.
Thank you, Christopher. At this time, are there any questions or comments from the audience? Sure. Do you want to maybe stand up so we could hear you? Before you answer, I'm just going to restate the question for the video feed. The question was the pie chart, why was Connection Preschool not included in the pie chart, correct?
So when we look at these numbers, what we're presenting is things that are funded within the general fund. So general dollars is what's included on here. So Connections Preschool, those are fee-based and don't count toward our ADM aid funding from the state, so that's why they're not on here. What's also not on here, although we do report it, is our VPK, so our voluntary preschool. We don't include that on here on the preschool side, but that is also state funded. But it is the preschool where they are paying to take classes. We don't include that. We do have special education, so early childhood special ed. We do have funding for that we receive from the state, and we are providing a service, and it's included within the general ed program. That's why those numbers are included in here.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, questions or comments from the board?
Oh, I do. Oh, sorry.
Please go ahead.
So the charter school that opened in Burnsville,
Yep.
do we know why the students are going there? Is it language intensive? What is that charter school offering that we aren't?
I know very little about the school itself. So when a school opens, typically, this is what I've experienced, is the initial excitement about something new, and then it's attracting a certain demographic. So over time, students will go and experience what is being presented, and I've seen them come back. So that's what I'm hoping. It is new, but we still have not, dug deep to figure out what is their angle of what they're exciting the students about, so to speak. What is their it factor? we don't have that yet.
Sachin.
Thank you, Corey. Christopher, as always, thank you for coming and kind of helping us see this big picture over here. I just wanted to kind of just pause and again recognize the incredible work that you and your department does. Being 99.97% accuracy, I think is fairly great. So I appreciate that you folks looked at this 1 year ago, and being 99.97% to the pupil count in a almost 29,000 pupil school district is great. And it's one of the reasons why that helps us plan well, be predictable in how we invest our funds. And so again, thank you for the work and the diligence that you and your team put forth. Thanks, Corey.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Jackie?
That was a great question about why the Connection Preschool wasn't in the budgeting formula, because it is in our count for buildings, because we house those students. So thank you for that clarification. That'd be a good one to put on the tickler to remind everybody when we do this next year that that's why it's not there. So thank you. And thank you, Christopher, for all the stuff you guys, your department does. It's amazing.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, I would like to welcome Mr. Spencer Fisher to the podium for our Nutrition Services Fuel for Top Performers update.
Good evening, Chairperson Johnson, members of the school board, Director Balsani. I'm Spencer Fisher, Coordinator of Nutrition Services. Tonight I want to share with you highlighting the Nutrition Services program and where we're going with the excellent work that they do to fuel our students for top performance. The big change in school meals for the 23-24 school year is a legislation that passed this spring, providing free meals for all students. Now, this isn't free food. It's free meals because those are subsidized meals. And when a student wants to have an additional entree, like an extra slice of pizza or a bottle of water, they would need to have funds in their meal account. So the Minnesota Free Meals Program, there's a couple different buckets that is funding the free meals. So when students are receiving educational benefits, most of the majority of those funds come from the federal government. And then if they're not receiving educational benefits, most of that money is coming from the state, because the state, with this new legislation, is picking up the expense that the parents would have. And if the student is receiving a partial educational benefits, then it's taking from both buckets of federal and state. So, if that makes sense. And I just wanted to make everyone aware that Nutrition Services is a self-funded program, so we don't take funds from the general fund. And if you think of Nutrition Services as a restaurant, we're the largest restaurant in Dakota County. So all those other restaurants have nothing on us. And so I mentioned that the funding comes from the federal and the state government, or from the federal for those educational benefits. So I really encourage all families to complete that educational benefits application. And then the next slide, as you can see, the meals program over last year has increased by 23%. So the meals at no charge that students are receiving has made a great impact. So more students are eating with us, and I crunched the numbers and we did 92,000 more meals this September over last September. So we're on projection to do over 3.6 million meals this year alone. And so with more food being prepared and stuff, we need more support in the kitchens. So the picture that I have up now shows the smiling faces of the nutrition services workers, because they enjoy their job and they have that warmth in their heart to take care of children. So I'm really proud of all the teams that I have in the kitchens, and to support them, we're adding additional hours, At our secondary schools, we're adding assistant managers to have more leadership in those schools and so that we can take care of the students. Some other staff that I've added to the team is out of my office. I have a resource specialist that I added to work with training for all the new people that we're starting. And I've also brought on a district chef to diversify our menus to represent the students that we have in school. The chef also works with each of our different school buildings to find best practices, because once we find a best practice that we want to have for a recipe, we want to spread it so that it makes it easier for other schools to prepare the same recipe. The other items that I've tasked those two people with is to increase our farm-to-school reach. Now, we've done some farm-to-school in the past, so we've worked with Ferndale Market out of Cannon Falls, and then we've also worked with Aaron over at Brand Farms, which is a local orchard for our apples. So far this year, we've had First Kiss, Honeycrisp, and just wait for it, Sweet Tango. So really great apples that we're getting from Aaron. So I've applied for a farm-to-school grant that we're utilizing to expand our farm-to-school program. So a couple of the farms that we're working independently with out of Cannon Falls is Cannon Bells, which makes the cheese curds. And then Deeply Rooted Farms, which is a plant-based protein that we're incorporating in more of our menu options. Other farms that we're working with in Minnesota are Doubting Thomas Farms out of Moorhead, and they produce oats for an overnight oats recipe. And Axtell Farms, we just menued their sweet corn about 2 weeks ago on our menu. So we're just keeping it in Minnesota, keeping it local and fresh. Another program another institution that we're using is the Good Acre, which is a food hub. And what a food hub does is they aggregate small farmers and bring in their crops so that they'll have enough quantity to service District 196. So this past month or so, through the Good Acre, we've supported 12 emerging farmers that when you go down to Rochester, all the Hoffa farms down there, that's who the Good Acres buys from, and then we're able to support those farmers. The other thing that we did with this grant was we built a farm-to-school refrigerator in central receiving. So when we do work with smaller farmers, they can just deliver to one spot instead of 26 different locations, which is breaking down barriers for them. The other thing that's really nice is when they do deliver those, the freight team in the warehouse, they separate the produce out for the different schools and they deliver it within 1 or 2 days. So the Good Acre is also helping us with training. So they have a chef that we're bringing in, and we're collaborating with them, with our district chef, to do trainings for the teams, and I envision that the training that we receive will make it easier on the staff in the kitchens to prepare the fresh produce that we're bringing in. Another fun project that we're working on is Harvest of the Month. I mentioned the apples that we're doing. That's the Harvest of the Month this month. The sweet corn was last month for Harvest of the Month. And then coming in November, we're going to be doing wild rice from multiple Ojibwe nations in Minnesota. I want to share a September story about the picture that's on the screen. So these are sambusas, and they're from a local emerging company owned by 3 Somali sisters called Hoyo. You can find these sambusas at your local food co-op, and so we partnered with them to create this meal. And to go along with it, we had to find the right seasoning blend to season the rice. So we seeked out Jessica Tijerina from Global Spice, and she made a Hawash spice blend to season the rice just perfectly. And then our district chef made a cumin chickpea salad to bring it all together. So this menu item knocked it out of the park. Students loved it, staff loved it, and even Superintendent Krieger got to have a meal brought to her, I believe by Brandy, so. Like I said, we've started to increase more vegetarian options with plant-based proteins. We have a new elementary spaghetti recipe that we use that plant-based protein from Deeply Rooted Farms, and it was well received. We tested it with multiple schools before we put it on the menu. And like I said, the kids enjoyed it. The staff loved serving it. Another Cannon Falls company that we're working with that I mentioned is Cannon Bells. So this October, we're going to be using their Grim Reaper cheese curd for a ghost pepper burger at our high schools. So be careful, it's slightly spicy. A couple other recipes that we're working on include a tiki masala, walking gyros, enchiladas, quesadillas, and food truck burritos. So you may ask, how do we decide to get items onto the menu? Well, before a recipe makes it onto the menu, it goes through multiple layers of testing. Starting in our office to make sure the food is nutritionally sound and meets the strict USDA regulations for the meal program. Then it goes in front of our menu committee, which is comprised of our site managers. So they're the ones that are working with the students, and they sort of hear what kids want to have. And then the final hurdle that we have to go through is this students on the screen there, and they're our most challenging people to get through any menu item. I like to call them kitchen cabinets because they tell us what they like and what they don't like, and that's what we want to make sure that we're giving them the food that they do like. So in these focus groups, we ask about their overall experience in the cafeterias, what they like, what they dislike, the foods that they eat away from school and away from home. Because again, we're the largest restaurant in Dakota County, so we got to compete against those other ones and make it the best. So I mentioned about the plant-based protein. We started testing that last year about this time. And so it took a full year to fully implement it to get it onto a menu. The sambusas were a little bit easier because it was a complete meal, and we tested the sambusas last spring with the students. So the picture here is students that we tested breakfast items just this morning, and we received great feedback on some of our savory items as we're moving away from more of the sweeter traditional items. I just want to take these final moments here to recognize the care that we take introducing new items through our new recipes and the favorite standbys as evidence of our high standards the nutrition services teams holds itself to. With the increase in participation this year and meals being free, some people might think the quality of the food will go down. This is not the case. We know when students have great, fresh food full of great nutrients, outcomes are better. These outcomes include better performance academically, athletically, better social emotional health, and better behavior throughout the day. This is why our nutrition services tagline is Fuel for Top Performance. In conclusion, I want to thank the teams in the kitchens, the greater community, the school community, and the school board for allowing us to feed and nurture our students so they are prepared for lifelong success. If there's any questions or comments, I'll take them now.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Spencer, for a great presentation. And now that we're all very hungry, are there any questions or comments from the audience? Yes, sir. Do you want to actually come to the podium just so the video feed can hear your question?
I apologize.
Don't worry.
I did have one question for you. You did bring up a lot of foods being grown locally in the state, right? Mm-hmm. What percentage would that be currently, and are you hoping to increase that?
Yep, so that's a great question. You know, the Farm to School program is, we're just starting initially getting into it. So I don't have an exact percentage of what foods are grown locally, but knowing that we are expanding further into it to support our Minnesota local farmers. Yep. Thank you for the question.
Good question, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Questions from board members?
No, please go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say congratulations. What a great bunch of great ideas. I know I talked to you before about the new chef that was coming on. Your nutritional staff is great, always excited, always dedicated to the students. And we do a lot of school visits, and I'm not sure, I have to talk to the superintendent, or Mr. Balsani, and go on a school visit and watch what magic you guys do and try some of your new recipes. Spencer, I'm just blown away. Congratulations.
Thank you. And, you know, anybody is welcome at any time to come and have a lunch with the school team and with your own children as well.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Sachin.
First of all, I don't think we should allow Spencer to come here next time without show and tell.
Yeah.
Samples.
I think as you were saying it, I'm like feeling all kinds of food pangs in my belly right now. So, but that aside, Spencer, I can't overstate the value that you and your team bring to our district. You know, food definitely goes a long way in satisfying hunger, but the way you and your team are envisioning food and nutrition is not just helping children learn better, you're also creating strong connections within the school community. I was going to mention the fact that my daughter came home, so we're a vegetarian family. My daughter came home and was telling us about the sambusas. What you are doing is you're normalizing, you're legitimizing cultural diversity in the most incredibly compelling way, which is exporting it through food. When people eat together, they're literally on the table sharing experiences. And in addition to, like I said, the nutritional value, just the fact that these are those things when children grow up and talk about how they've experienced food from different cultures, and it's no longer just X or Y, it's the food as in the totality that is reflected in our community. It's incredible work. And it's extremely restorative in terms of helping create bridges between cultures as well. So again, a big thank you to you and these wonderful folks we have, because it is the compassion and love that you bring to your jobs that make the biggest difference. And I'm, as someone who's minority and who's a vegetarian, on behalf of all of us, I would just say thank you to you and just incredible, incredible work.
Thank you very much. Hold on, because there's way more coming.
Awesome.
Love it, love it.
Thank you.
Joel.
Just to add a little bit onto that, and from a different point of view, that the meals today are just so different from when I was a student, and school meals very often consisted just of government surplus food, and schools were kind of the dumping ground that the government used to get rid of a lot of that stuff. And so to see the changes now and to see, it's just so exciting, the meals you're offering and the opportunities you're offering. And I know that, you know, going from the point in the 80s when ketchup was deemed a vegetable to getting more structure and restrictions, however, on school meals, where it went from that government surplus to just bland. And now we've kind of really turned that corner, and I appreciate everything that you have done, everything that your staff has done, all the work that everybody's involved, the students that you got involved in this, just to really bring food back or maybe not even back, just food into the schools that kids, students can relate to from their culture, and it's good food and healthy food at the same time, which a lot of times are not always combined together. So I'm very, very happy, very excited about the changes that you've made and that you're continuing to make for food for our students. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Other questions or comments from board members? Bianca?
Yeah. First, thrilled to see the farm to school. And as a parent of a child who's an almost vegetarian, we happen to love the Hoyo sambusas. So that is exciting for, I'm sure, not just my family, but others. Also, the use of local farmers, local produce is great. I think that's awesome. The more we can do that, the better. Cuts down on the environmental impact, right, of transporting food. And so this was, I appreciated the update. I do have a question or just a comment maybe as a parent. The emails that I keep getting about how I need to add more money to my kid's account, even though he's in elementary, or they aren't buying food. If we could maybe is there a way to opt out of that? You know, hey, I don't need the notice weekly that I need to put money in the account.
Yeah, those are sort of some of the software and IT things that we're still working through as we're still using the same software that is used in multiple states throughout the nation. And so it's one of those triggers. So if you want to give our office a call, I can walk you through how to take that off there for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Also, I think the farm to school, the local produce, all that is great, but what excites me the most is that we are serving 23% more of our students, 92,000 more meals. Those are kids that without this legislative change would have probably not eaten. So I appreciate that. I do have a question that I'm positive you don't have the answer to now, so you can get back to me later. I assume that we had some sort of student debt from last year, and that would be a carryover. And I know I've seen your numbers of our fund balance, but I'm just curious what that is and how we plan to address that, either paying it down or writing it off.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't have those exact numbers on me, and I can get back to you with
that's
that.
fine.
And I am working with different administrators and with Christopher to figure out the best way to take care of that debt.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Other questions or comments? Spencer, I just wanted to say it's very rare in a report presentation where about every 2 minutes or so I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Because I was honestly thinking that. Everything was pretty much already mentioned, but the farm to school program, I love that, especially that's all local. I was just at Brand Farms this Saturday picking apples, and now I know why I couldn't find any First Kiss ones. You took them all. So I absolutely love that. Keep it up. I've witnessed the transformation that has happened in our school cafeterias, and I know a lot of it is because of you and your team, and I just think it's all amazing, all the initiatives you're doing, so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I am very fortunate to have the teams that I work with. Farm to School is a near and dear item to my heart because I did grow up on a farm in southwest Minnesota with all the livestock and all the grains that you can imagine. So food is one of my passions, and I have great people taking care of the children. So I have to give it up to them, and I'm very fortunate to be working with great teams.
Awesome.
So thank you.
It shows. Thank you. That brings us to the end of our report section. We don't have any old business tonight on the agenda, so I will go to new business, and I'd like to welcome Ms. Jill Coyle to the podium to discuss Administrative Regulation 507.2AR, student fees and fines.
Good evening, Chairperson Johnson, members of the board, and Director Balsoni. If it seems like I was just here with our student fees and fines regulation, it's because I was. We do our best to bring all of the fees to you at one time, but sometimes circumstances conspire against us and the timing just isn't right. This is one of those times. We have one more fee change for you tonight relative to alpine skiing. So first, for the benefit of the public, just a reminder that policy, or I should say Regulation 507.2AR, student fees and fines, is the regulation where we list all of the various fees and fines that students may be charged in the district. It can be found on our website. It's continually updated, and it can be found with all of our policies, regulations, and procedures. As I said, tonight's proposed change in new business is a change relative to alpine skiing. The changes can be found in paragraphs 3.4.1 and 3.4.3.4 of 507.2AR. That's a lot of numbers. The proposed change adds a $75 fee to the cost of participating in alpine skiing. In the past, alpine ski participants paid for the cost of their lift ticket only. This year, Buck Hill will begin charging a team fee for teams to compete at their facility, and coaches will also be charged for their lift tickets as well as student lift tickets. That makes it necessary for the district to begin charging a co-curricular activity fee to help cover the increased cost of providing the activity to students. If approved, participants at all grade levels will be subject to the $75 fee in addition to purchasing their lift ticket from Buck Hill. This is a review item tonight. It will come back to you for approval at the November 13th meeting as old business. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, questions or comments from board members? No. Sounds good. We will see you on November 13th at our next board meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to our other action items, and I will turn it over to Acting Superintendent Michael Bosoni to go over the Nutrition Services Appreciation Week, October 9th through the 13th.
Thank you. We are so proud of these folks. The District 196 Nutrition Services Employee Appreciation Week. Whereas there are approximately 175 Nutrition Service Department employees who work in Independent School District 196 on a full or part-time basis. Whereas our nutrition service employees include food service managers, food service associates, and substitutes. Whereas our nutrition service employees prepare and serve more than 2.5 million healthy and nutritious meals to students and staff at 31 locations every school year. Whereas our nutrition services employees play an essential role in ensuring students are prepared to learn, and whereas our nutrition service employees work with students, parents, teachers, school nurses, and administrators as a vital part of the District 196 team. Therefore, be it resolved, the School Board of Independent School District 196, Rosemount, Apple Valley, Eagan Public Schools hereby extends its appreciation to nutrition services employees for the vital role they play in educating, developing, and inspiring students for lifelong success, and declares October 9th through the 13th, 2023 to be Nutrition Services Employees Appreciation Week in District 196.
Excellent. This is an action item tonight. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Second.
Motion by Jackie and a second by Bianca. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, questions or comments from board members? All those in favor of approving the resolution as outlined, please say aye.
Aye.
Are those opposed? Motion carries on a 6-0 vote. And I will turn it back over to our acting superintendent for our next resolution.
Okay, we are also very proud of these individuals. District 196 Transportation Employees Appreciation Week. Whereas the Independent School District 196 Transportation Department employs 311 people and operates 227 vehicles, making it the largest school district-owned bus fleet in Minnesota. Whereas our transportation employees support students in several vital roles, including bus drivers, chaperones, vehicle technicians, and office staff. Whereas our transportation employees travel approximately 2.9 million miles each year, transporting more than 23,000 students twice every school day to and from more than 5,500 bus stops throughout the district. Whereas, for many students, the first and last district employee they see each day is a transportation department employee, and whereas our transportation employees work with students, parents, teachers, and administrators as an essential part of the District 196 team. Therefore, be it resolved, the School Board of Independent School District 196, Rosemount, Apple Valley, Eagan Public Schools hereby extends its appreciation to the transportation employees of District 196 for the vital role they play in educating, developing, and inspiring students for lifelong success. and declares October 16th through the 20th, 2023 to be Transportation Employees Appreciation Week in District 196.
Excellent. This is another action item tonight. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Sachin and a second by Joel. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, questions or comments from board members? All those in favor of approving the resolution as outlined, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries. That brings us almost to the close of our agenda tonight. Are there any school board members with items they would like to share?
I have a quick.
Sachin, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll just take this moment to recognize, honor, and celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, and also want to convey my. I also want to convey my deepest gratitude to the wonderful transportation and nutrition colleagues of our 196 communities. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other board members with items they'd like to share? Turn it over to Director Bolsoni for superintendent updates.
Thank you, Chairperson Johnson. I want to encourage all voters in District 196 who haven't done so already to participate in the school board election by first getting informed about the candidates and then voting. 4 school board seats are up for election. The City of Apple Valley also has an important parks referendum question on the ballot, and residents of Rosemont will have a city council election on their ballot, along with the school board election. Absentee voting is open by mail and in person. If voting absentee in person, make sure to check where you should vote because of the ballot questions that are in Apple Valley and Rosemount. Voters can also vote at their polling place on Election Day, Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. For information on where to vote, go to the Secretary of State's website at www.mnvotes.org. Lastly, as we enter the time of year when many businesses and organizations conduct their annual giving campaigns, I would like to let people know about the District 196 Foundation. Each year, funding from the District 196 Foundation provides direct support to hundreds of our students right here in District 196. Funding from the foundation provides students weekend food bags, books to read during the summer, and instruments for students who otherwise would not have been able to participate in band. If you would like to learn more about the District 196 Foundation or make a donation to support their efforts, go to their website at www.district196foundation.org. Thank you.
Excellent. That brings us to the close of our meeting tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second. Motion to be adjourned by Bianca and a second by Joel. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned.